Put my name up here.
Did you know that Audible has over 150,000 titles of books waiting for you to download on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player? If you go to audibletrial.com/whiskeywinemoon, you can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial. Don't wait, get your free audiobook today. And now for episode 58 of Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine, starting now. Hi, ladies.
I
Hey.
felt like we needed to clap after that.
I
We
know.
are so fickle.
I know. I wish I had the sound effects queued up. Welcome, or for most of you, welcome back to Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. I'm the Moonshine, also known as Sojo, and I'm joined by my partners in shenanigans. We have the Whiskey Lady Buddha, and we also have Miss Smart, who started representing the wine about 2 hours ago.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Right. How are y'all doing this evening?
I'm good. I literally just got here. I finagled my way through Atlanta rush hour traffic from one side of the metro area to the other. So anyone who knows what it's like to drive from below the perimeter to above the perimeter and not be on that bypass around the perimeter knows that I really won today. So victory to me. I'm celebrating with a cheap red wine.
I like a lot.
I was going to ask where you slid in if you had a chance to freshen yourself with a beverage.
Barely, but yeah.
That bottle looks almost empty, though. You been enjoying it?
Well, I poured some for Blue, I poured some for me, but there's actually still plenty left.
Okay, I see it now. There's a shadow. Miss Smart, what have you been sipping on?
Well, so at 5:01, I went into my kitchen. I had intended during the day to make my way over to the liquor emporium, and I didn't make it because hot and extra clothes. I didn't want to change my house clothes to my outside clothes, whatever. So I had to drink leftover wine, which was this red bottle of something called Radius. And when I tell you that one glass of it, because that's all that was left in the bottle, one glass of it made me feel like I had drank, I don't know, 3 shots of the vodka. I kid you not. Like, that's all I drank. And now I'm on water. Like, oh my God, I hope I can hydrate enough to make it to the office tomorrow.
I know you said you might fall asleep. I was like,
Yes.
well, I am also drinking wine. This is cheap because it's what I usually use to add to what I'm doing, those little fruits and Gria smoothies, but it's something Creek. I can't see the name of it, but it's over there on the bar. But it's something Creek, but it's
Wino Creek? Wino Creek, maybe?
shut up. It's something. All I see is the Creek part, but it's a white wine. So that is what I have. I haven't sipped any yet, so we'll see how this goes. So let's get into our feedback first before we get into the main topic. You guys know that, of course, if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher, we will definitely read it live on air. So last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, we got a comment from Mature Young Lady on iTunes that said, "Keep it coming." And she says, "Beautiful, intelligent, articulate women. I listen every week, and I'm thankful for the perfect balance of sophistication and ratchetness. I am also learning a lot about feminism. Keep it coming, ladies." So thank you so much, Mature Young Lady, and we will definitely keep the sophistiratchet coming.
I like it. We should. Is that a hashtag already?
We need to make it a hashtag, sophistiratchet, for you. And then
make a website and do it now, because now the idea is out there to
right,
snap it up.
Let's see. We got LB in the chat, which he has perfect timing because he's the next on the feedback part. He says, "Buddha describing the ATL highway system and traffic reminds me of some of our roads here. Drive on certain streets or highways at the wrong time if you want to. You will be stuck as fuck." So that's what he said. And the same thing about the Beltway, right, Miss?
Yeah. The Beltway, Surfer Streets, basically anywhere that's safe to travel is some bullshit. You have to know the underground places where you may or may not be able to buy crack at the corner. Those are the easiest ways to travel because the crack exchange is so quick that there's no holdup at the light. There's none of that.
They keep going. I'm queen of the back road, so that's what I do down here. I'm queen of that. I know how.
I almost ventured onto. I almost tried back roads today, but I thought I was taking a joke too far. Like 75 miles of back roads.
But you know what? I could get from Buckhead to like Forsyth, Georgia, or Forsyth County, whichever one is south, just by doing 42, like past miles and everything.
Well, you can, and that's the south one. I mean, that's Forsyth, the city.
Mm-hmm.
Forsyth, the county, is the one all the way up.
The one that Oprah visited.
Yes.
With all the races, yeah.
Yes.
So, getting back to the feedback, LB left a comment that I was confused about. He asked you, Miss Smart, to clarify some story. What's the background on that? What were y'all talking about?
Before I get to that though, did you guys, is it Sophist O Ratchet or Sophist Ratchet?
Let's do Sophistic Ratchet.
Because that is available. I'll go ahead and snap that.
All right, go ahead and snap
Amen,
that.
because listen, don't get faced out up in here.
Yeah, we need to get to Twitter now.
No, I've already bought it. It's over.
Don't get faked out. That's all I got.
Why they didn't take? What? Oh shit! I'm not logged into the right account. But I have it written. So if you're on right now and you go buy it, I will hunt you down. I will find you. I have a very unique set of skills. Excuse me, no. Cagney and Lacey have a very unique.
We have a very unique set of skills. We will find you.
Anyway, with regard to the story that Leonard Brothers asked about, we were in the chat room of the Black Guy Who Tips, and we were talking about abuse from women, the type of abuse that happens when a woman has no income of her own. And so I casually dropped that a certain young man wanted and repeatedly suggested and encouraged me to quit my job while we were dating. And by while we were dating, I mean in week 3. Okay? So I felt like that was crazy, because I don't know you enough to put my life and my, I don't know, hair appointments in your hands. So now I feel like the story is all anticlimactic because it really is just that. And he would later on reveal himself to be batshit crazy. We weren't together at this time, but there was a nervous breakdown, not caused by me. I just want to put that out there.
I was just about to say, what did you
do? I've already told you guys this story. Like, he ended up like marrying some broad he knew for 15 seconds because he was, I want to get married, insert vagina here.
Right.
But yeah, and so when the whole thing about that men say this stuff and women go for it hook, line, and sinker. They pull up in, a man's cul-de-sac house, and the man says, "Oh, quit your job." But the woman doesn't often think, "Wait, if I quit my job and he has all the purse strings, what? I don't know him well enough to trust him."
Right.
Exactly. To in the lifestyle I am accustomed to, and that lifestyle may be cheap wine. I don't know. But a lot of women just go for that, and men push it out there, and
because it sounds romantic. Because it sounds romantic.
But I've seen enough Lifetime movies,
right?
I know how that works. So, I mean, not to say that every man who says their significant other and or wife doesn't have to work is abusive, because many times they're not. But if you know me for 15 seconds and you don't know that my middle name is spelled incorrectly, then you shouldn't be offering up that hustle. You shouldn't be offering that to me because you don't know me well enough.
Yeah, it's everything with that Insta, stuff that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just quit your job. It's everything that's Insta.
Quit your job, move into the house. It was just a clusterfuck of fuckery. And I didn't tell you every detail of the fuckery as was going on, but it was fuckery.
We got Howard in the chat. He says, "Evening, ladies. So what are we chatting about tonight with your resplendent selves?" Well, Howard, we are talking about 2 things. The first thing is going to be in Father's Day. And then I'm not running the app unless you run the app. Before you got on, I ran that app, and I know that you can commandeer my screen and draw funny faces on my photo. So
You sure did. And well, I logged in and I was like, why are you drawing on the screen? And she was like, I can't draw on your screen because it's not supported until you enable it. Oh, well.
what we're talking about for people who just watched me kirk out just now, Miss Smart invited me to add the Draw app. It's a new app that they have on Google Hangout, which I actually do have enabled. It's just that I have to give her permission to do it as well. But basically, you can you can like put stuff on the screen. Wait a minute, is that you? I hate you.
I told you I had blue. Wait, bring the blue eyebrows back because it matches. Oh, look, you got the blue eye.
I hate y'all. I'm taking
like
this
the red
off.
eye for blue eyebrows.
I'm taking it off, and let me turn myself back around.
So everyone, you must
I don't know how to undo it, so
watch the YouTube so you can see Miss Smart drawing on
Harvey is silly. See, she missed before she logged in. I could see that you could also put text on it, so I was texting stuff all on
kind of stuff.
Anyway, my partners in shenanigans, to the main topic, which is in Father's Day. Basically, this past Sunday was Father's Day, so we decided to kind of talk about it a little bit. Before we start, I just, we're talking about hashtag campaigns and websites and stuff. I want to propose a new one, and this one is called hashtag End Father's Day Disclaimers, because I am so freaking tired of people trying to define what a father is or isn't to other people. You don't have to distinguish a dad from a dynamic dad. People aren't stupid. They know the difference. And can we please stop starting every Father's Day with a call for peace? Like, that's just so
crazy.
It's a war out there. It's a war out there. You know it's a war out there.
But it even adds just to, it's a precursor to messiness. It's like you want to have a peaceful holiday, but you start out by highlighting dysfunction before it even begins, and then when people start being dysfunctional, then that's the stuff you focus on. Like, I saw so much good stuff on Father's Day that I couldn't understand why people started talking about all the bad stuff. I mean, anyway, so that's a little plug. I want to end Father's Day disclaimers.
Well, and it's like we don't have that same type of drama around, Grandparents' Day. Somebody brought up a good point about, father versus parent, in that whole distinction, because people were trying to get into the gender discussion of it, and it's like one is, a role, versus the other one. And it's just kind of like, it's just an interesting, when you start to reframe it and think about it like that, it doesn't require any of the drama, especially about all of the, happy Father's Day to all the mothers out there. And like, if you realize that a mother is a parent, and that's a different parent from a father for specific reasons, like, you don't have to have an emotional reaction to it. It doesn't have to be, well, just because you do everything. Well, everything is parenting still. Like, it still all falls into that same, big umbrella of being a parent. So I just don't understand the emotional fallout from it either.
I think part of it is that people
okay.
therapy.
Wait.
If they would just
wait. We're not gonna just let that pass like nothing.
Right, we're not gonna just. For people who are watching, Miss Smart has drawn crazy eyes on her face.
I mean, like cat eyes.
Crazy cat eyes.
And then she's trying to act like nothing happened.
Right. Trying to normalize her dysfunction.
Right. That's exactly what you just did. All right. Back to what you were saying.
So
I'll see if I can find a tweet that I got this from, because someone tweeted that. So I was talking about Sam's tweet, but I'll look for it. Go ahead.
That if these people would just like take advantage of their health care and those free therapy sessions,
you're already doing too much.
Then I feel like we would be so much, like, we wouldn't have to deal with this fuckery. You know what I mean? Like, if therapy didn't have such a negative stigma in our community in particular, they could take care of this off of Twitter, off of Facebook. Like, I don't need to know. Like, again, I've said this before. If you are talking bad about your child's parent, or even your own parent, if you're talking about, well, first I'll deal with your child's parent. You lay down with him or her.
Yep.
If you're talking bad about your own parent, well, the other parent laid down with them. So, I mean, take that where it needs to go. Like, I can't, if I'm going to talk bad about my daddy, my mom kind of laid down with him, and vice versa. I'm going to talk bad about my mom, well, my dad was, you know, he was okay with that. Like, place blame where it is, and don't try to create these sorority/fraternity organizations of dysfunction, of parental dysfunction.
Right. It's walking five wounded. It's like there is so much.
That's exactly right.
I mean, but again, we tend to highlight that stuff. Well, not we, because I don't do all that.
Don't do
But
that.
people end up, retweeting craziness that other people say, and then commenting on what other people are saying. And it's like, but there's so many people sharing pictures of their dad, sharing memories of their dad. And not even just their biological dads, but their friends who are great dads. Like, so many people are sharing such great things, yet you're seeing the person with 12 followers going on a rampage about the dysfunction in their lives, which opens it up to trolls. So let's get into the troll thing. The End Father's Day hashtag. I just got to talk about that for a second, because this is what made Twitter explode the last few days, because of some shock value tweets. And the first time I read the tweet and was like, somebody's trolling. I just started laughing. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, the first one that you showed me made me laugh, actually.
Yeah, it was like, End Father's Day is a slap to single mothers all over the world. I mean, it was just stuff that was just like that. And then people actually took it seriously. But I do want, because this ended up being a thing where, because some people automatically think that the Walking Wounded are going to take over Father's Day, they ended up just going in on this hashtag, not realizing that it was started by a troll group called 4chan. So what I want to show everybody is how to actually research how a hashtag, or who originates a hashtag before you start. Because even in the chat, Sanjada, I love you, but you screenshotted some of the tweets that people were saying, and those were the 4chan members. So I want to show people how to actually research so that we don't have to fall victim to this fuckery again. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. And what you guys need to do, there's a website called Topsy.com. And anytime you want to know, and let me go ahead and share that screen. All right, so what you do in Topsy is you can search for a tweet, and what I'm doing now is I'm clicking on tweets and I'm typing in the hashtag End Father's Day. Can y'all see that?
Yes, we can, ma'am.
All right, so I have just, and you see there are 15,102 tweets. What I'm doing is I'm searching for all time, and I'm going to sort by the oldest hashtag. And we see...
It's not very big, though. They can't read it. They can just see that something is there.
Yeah, but what I'm going to show you is, if you start down here, you'll kind of notice, and I'm going to read some of these tweets, you'll see that it wasn't started, because a lot of people start blaming this on black feminists. And if you'll notice, some of these people, well, this entire page of people aren't black people. And these were actually some of the 4chan trolls. So you have like Miss Sassy Mar, who says, I'm not a victim because I'm female. I'm a victim because it seems okay to victimize women. In Father's Day, yes, all women. So basically what this troll did was hopped on the yes, all women hashtag, which was going, and went ahead and co-opted and started the End Father's Day stuff that sent everybody into a tizzy. Can y'all see this one that I just switched tabs? Can y'all see this?
Yeah, 100% of child, yeah.
Okay, this is Carly Jackson. So she, or I'm putting in air quotes, she said End Father's Day because 100% of men, 100% of child abuse is from men, typically white men. We need more single mothers. This was one of the ones that black people ran them up with. Oh my God, and this is, whatever. Carly Jackson is a troll. you can go back and you can search this particular person's timeline and you can see like how they pretty much came in. You'll notice her kente cloth background, trying to relate to Africans, I guess. I don't know. And then you'll notice her headline is Obama laughing at the bullshit. And so and her bio says proud black women, Obama campaign volunteer, radical feminist, community organizer, academic. I mean, come on. And then this is another one. This is Nene Thompson. This is the black one that Black Twitter started, you know, whatever. In Father's Day, because it's a slap in the face to single mothers everywhere. Nene is a troll, and Nene has been showing her ass all day long today because she's like, bitches, I got you. And you can see Nene has, you know, all her cleavage. And they, the Fortran group, I'm going to just take this back off, but basically they decided to create profiles of black women. They searched for regular women's pictures, put them up as Abby's, and just ran them up. And people fell for it. I mean, they really, really fell for it. So I just wanted to show the audience that before y'all start retweeting and commenting about all this shit, go back and look at it before you give it power. So anyway, that's the end of my...
but you know, that goes back to the same, we say this about everything. Just stop for a moment and reflect. Like, you don't have to react instantly to everything you see or hear. Just think about it. Think about who said it. What do they have to gain from doing it? What do they have to gain from you having a reaction to it? You know, what does it really mean? Does it really mean anything? Do you really have to say anything? I mean, all of that gives it oxygen, just like you said. So, you know, just, of course, then people would say, well, but then Twitter wouldn't be the same experience because that's how we get hashtag to work. But, you know, it didn't used to always be that way, that it had to be this combustible, emotional explosions. It wasn't always like that. So.
Aren't people doing what regular media does, though? Rush to be first?
Well, they rush to be first, and they rush to be important, right? So if you're someone contributing to this hashtag, whatever it is, or trolling, you're going to get all these responses, and so you're going to get all these followers, all this interest, all this shine. You might get a feature story written about you and all your tweets so that you can get internet famous very quickly, which is the same thing they do with the link baits for these articles, and it's all, you know, driven for them to get the eyeballs on the page. It's the same thing that individuals do it to get their own attention, and they can build their own brands that way, you know, and it's all gross.
Gross is a great term for it. It really is.
Well, wait, real quick about the link bait. Did you guys see the, I'm trying to pull it up here, the link bait that was the picture of the twins that said parents name their children Ghostface and Raekwon or something like that?
Stop.
No.
I thought it was wonderful because I was like, yeah, this is great if it's true. Because, you know, I'm at an age where I really appreciate parents being like, fuck it, they can go by their middle name. And my kid Raekwon, name the other, and they're white kids, Ghostface. But it was too, but in the end, it was basically to bring awareness to some type of something or something of the other.
Well, now you're aware, I guess. But one thing I wanted to just circle back real quickly to Sam, is SF Reynolds on Twitter, and he was having a longer discussion. Actually, he went past what I saw earlier, and he's just basically said every year there's a big debate about celebrating single-parent household moms on Father's Day. And he said, I think a single mom who raises a child well is a great parent, not a father. No more is a single father is a mother. I think if a person is more male identified, regardless of sex, as a co-parent, then he or she could be a father, if not biological. And so I think it's fine to honor a single parent as a mom on Mother's Day if one is femme identified. So basically just kind of, you know, just leave, if it's not really talking about you, you don't have to commandeer it, you don't have to be offended by it, you know, and if you feel like it is talking about you, then it's for you. Right. And that's true about anything else, which is why I brought up Grandparents' Day, because there is no drama, because you know what that means. You know who is a grandparent, and it's not, you know, it's just, I just think people can just calm down and opt out. Like for years, I opted out of paying any attention to Valentine's Day. I'm not a mother, so I'm not participating in Mother's Day, even though people try to make me a mother because I'm a woman, but I don't have to participate. I can opt out, basically.
Well, I think I think that you're being way too reasonable.
That's what I
And
do, right? That's what the whiskey does, keeps it mellow.
I
I
mean,
was gonna say everybody just needs a nap and some juice. That's all.
Juice?
but you know,
We got several comments in the chat. Leonard Brother says, let's see. Researching hashtags. This is great info, Sojo, and I'm glad you're sharing it with us. But you know, emotional ass people on social media aren't going to do all this work to see who started the shit that has them going crazy. And that's when I judge people. It's not, I don't, I judge people who don't research more than I judge people who are starting this stuff because they're playing. Never mind. I'm not even gonna get into that.
Yeah, amen.
Anyway, he goes on to say, I was raised by a single mother from age 5 until I went to college at 18. My mom never said a bad word about my dad in front of me. She understood that being bitter wasn't going to raise me. Even to this day, she doesn't bash him. We can talk about, I like the fact that you put 1 and 2 so I would know the order of it. The things he did or didn't do as a parent, but it's not in anger. It's just us talking about our lives and something that had some sort of an impact on us. That said, I think the disclaimers for Father's Day are unnecessary. Say Happy Father's Day or don't. That's it.
Yeah, like happy birthday. It applies to you or it doesn't.
but you know, wait a minute, wait. Let me just stop you right there. I think that a lot of times, the parent that is left to raise the children get mad when the child is not as bitter as they are. So for instance, oh, I can't believe you reserving a ticket for that MF. He ain't never did. He ain't never been. Ain't gonna never be. And this is like, yeah, but that's the relationship y'all had. And
well, that's true with all bitter people, right? Like whatever you're bitter about, you're bitter. You're more bitter when someone else isn't as bitter as you.
Right, exactly. But I think it's important for the younger person to understand where that parent is coming from. They're coming from a place of bitterness, and they are trying to build an army. And oftentimes when people know that they may be in the wrong with what they're doing, they like to say, we feel this way. Like they try to gather an army instead of saying, no, that shit is fucked up. I hate that shit.
Right.
I think you should do like the 4 steps.
And your kids don't want to be bothered with you either. No, them kids ain't never said that.
Right. I think you should do the 4 steps of bitter responses and like build an army. Should be like 2 or like one of the 2.
We'll put that on sophistiratchet.com. How about that?
Yeah, okay, yes, because that's hysterical.
Howard says, my dad wasn't perfect and stayed in my life, but what annoyed me was that later in life, the main members of my family that shaded him for his shortcoming stay having kids with fuckboys. Oh, well,
I mean, that's exactly right.
So. He goes on, he says, at least mine didn't sleep with my mom's cousin, sister, unlike their baby daddies. All right,
Howard,
it's business in them streets, Howard.
Right, on blast. We got Romero checking in. He said he wants to put a disclaimer that he's posting from his wife's computer. What's up, Romero?
Hey.
Glad you are joining us. But then he says, social media platforms tend to encourage people to be reactionary, and
they didn't used to. That's new, so I wouldn't blame the platform.
What year was that though? But that's when more people started finding out. It was the same Facebook.
The quality of the people who found out.
That's true.
It's like when a new club opens, it might be cool, but then a certain element finds out, and they don't have that self-control that stops them from punching somebody because they stepped on their gators.
But I have a question. I have a question. Was MySpace ever reactionary?
I don't know, because I was
because everyone got on at one point and then everyone left, but it wasn't. So
I wasn't on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know when it started because that's when I migrated over to Google Plus, and that was 2010, 2011. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so refreshing. People are actually having discussions as opposed to emotionally based reactionary responses. So it was right around, it was right around that time. And then Jeffrey has just joined us. He says, hey ladies, all of you are looking pretty today. Thanks, Jeff. And then also, before we get into the Orange is the New Black stuff, we wanted to talk about the myth of the missing black father.
Yeah.
Because it is automatically assumed that dads are not present, or black dads are not present in their children's lives. So did y'all want to just start off talking about that, or did we want to go into the article?
Well, before we get into the article, I just want to speak about my observations, my anecdotal observations, and
Mm-hmm.
I encourage all of you to do the same. So some years ago, I used to work in various schools in poor communities where they received a lot of TANF funds, and I can't think of what that acronym stands for now, but basically a lot of people were on public assistance. And so I would have to be at the school before classes starts. And these are elementary schools and middle schools for the most part. Most of the people who were dropping their children off had penises.
Mhm.
And so to say that poor black fathers are not in their children's life, that's not true. They may not share a same address. They may not even go to a baseball game, but to some degree, they're in their lives. They know who that child's teacher is. They, walk that child up to the front of the school. They know when that child runs up to their best friend. They know something. So these guys are getting a raw deal. Are some of them in jail? Sure. But many of those same ones who are in jail, when they do get out, they're dropping their kid off. Or when they are in jail, they're writing letters. They're doing things to stay connected to their children, and they're getting a freaking raw deal.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, like the CDC data came out in December, and it's been kind of making the rounds again, but it's even more than that. They break it into, for instance, children under age 5, children from ages 5 to 18, and they talk about, Latino dads, white dads, and black dads, and they don't do it by socioeconomic status. They only do it by race and ethnicity. But they talk about the fact that, fed or ate meals with their children, and they talk about fathers living with kids versus fathers not living with their kids. And black men have the highest percentage of feeding their kids or eating with their kids for children under 5 who are not living with their kids. So even though they're not living with them, they are still have the highest percentage of all the 3 groups of eating with them. Like that's one example. Another one, children under 5 play with children daily. So fathers who are not living with their kids, for black men, it was 16.5% of them play with their children daily versus white fathers, 6.6%, and Latino fathers, 10%. So they were like out, performing basically. They talk about, for older kids, talk to their children about their day daily. And so from kids 5 to 18, black males, fathers, 17.8% versus the other group, 16% and 11%. And then even help their children with homework or check to see if they finished it, 9.7% of black fathers versus 5% of white, 3.2% of Latinos. And we're talking about, again, the fathers who are not living with their kids compared to fathers who are living with their kids.
And the thing
So,
is, going back to the anecdotal evidence, y'all know in the evenings I work with, kids and their parents doing groups and stuff like that.
mhm.
I've been doing that for almost 2 years now, and the majority, well, not the majority, it's either even or a little bit more of my group with the parents are fathers that are coming in, whether they're biological fathers or even stepfathers that are coming in to do these groups with their children. And these children aren't like, you can tell when parents interact with their kids, kind of what kind of relationships they have. Are they hostile? Are they nurturing? So forth and so on. These are, for the most part, nurturing parents. They know about their kids. They know, areas that they need help in. And the thing is with the dads is that they're willing to ask for help. They'll say, I don't know what to do with this, or they did this, and what should I do? I mean, these are active dads. So it's like we always think that dads, especially dads who aren't in the home, aren't doing anything, but we're starting to see more evidence, and I'm glad that it's actually coming out, especially being put out by the CDC, that they are there. So,
Well, and it's just like the other stuff that we talk about, like this vocal minority has this loud ass megaphone, and
mhm.
it's like, calm it down over there. And can the people who are busy doing the work are not also busy advertising that they're doing the work?
um,
So we're not hearing
several,
enough from them. Hmm.
yeah, several comments. Bitterness Army, smart. You hit the nail on the head about bitter kids. Wanting their kids to be bitter about the absent parent too. That was a quotable. I will have to re-listen to this so I can pause it and quote you accurately. Then Black
It's a
Rob says,
sophisticated
thank you.
though.
Uh, Thank you for speaking on this, ladies. From my experience, every 25 to 35-year-old black man that I know with kids is heavily involved in their kids' lives, regardless of their relationship with the child's mother. And then the research also shows this to be true. So that was Black Rob checking in. I'm trying to. Oh, Jeffrey asked how everyone's Father's Day was. Mine was great. Let's see. I'm not sure which order. Romero, when you do the comments, try to put a 1, 2, 3 so I can read them in order so I don't get it wrong. Oop, and they keep stopping. I'm trying to read the first one first. It says there's a sociological phenomenon called other mothering that dates back to slavery. That same concept can be applied to men that unselfishly fill that father role, granddads, uncles, cousins, older brothers, neighbors, teachers, coaches. You are absolutely right about that. He goes on to say we also often forget to include and credit those men from the community and from other parts of the family that step in to fill the role of father. And he is definitely, accurate about that. He did say when we were asking about when did it flip on Twitter where everybody became reactionary, and he said once it became mobile and more accessible, it became easier for folks to participate without thinking first. That is true. Once those apps became active, then we did see people being able to just type in their opinions without having to.
That's a good point.
That is a very good point. I never even thought about that because Google Plus didn't have an app at first. So people did have to think. Let's see. Black Rob says, us black fathers are out here doing it. One thing I'm tired of when I'm out with my son and people seem surprised that I am involved. Like, what else am I supposed to be? Yes. Like, it's like this. I don't like that either. Like when people are like, oh my God, you're with your son or you're with your daughter. Well, yeah. And then Howard says, MySpace was that reactionary only for people under 21. So thanks for letting me know.
So for the youngest. So what's the excuse for these 40-somethings? But I like the app as a good theory. That would be interesting to trace.
Yeah, but that, you know what? That does sound accurate. Y'all, we got a part 2 of this podcast. I hate that we have to, kind of wrap this one up, but we are going to leave some links on our website, and we'll leave the CDC link. There's also a link that says 6 actual facts that shatter the biggest stereotypes of black fathers. So we're going to definitely put those on our website and ask for you guys to share them so that people can know that black men are out here doing things. So we are going on to part 2, which is Orange is the New Black. And I'm going to say warning, we interrupt our regularly scheduled program for a special review of episodes 2 through 4 of Orange is the New Black. Now, if you have not had a chance to watch these episodes and you get in your feelings about spoilers, we strongly advise you to fast forward to the cheers section if you're listening on iTunes, Podomatic, or Stitcher, because we're going to spoil the shit out of this segment. So, without further ado, Orange is the New Black, episode 2 was Looks Blue, Taste Red. And the synopsis of this is a mock job fair provides Tasty with a chance to show off her business smarts, and Red feels isolated from her prison family. So this is where we got to see Tasty's backstory, where she started out. I see you, Miss Smart, trying to draw on my face.
No, I'm not. I don't have that open.
Oh, that's funny.
Is that you?
No,
It just says searching. Okay, but it says Tasty is at the Black Adoption Festival, and I loved little Tasty. She was so cute. Anyway,
I like that too. I like that whole backstory. That was good.
Did too.
That might be my favorite episode so far, by the way. But go ahead.
So she hooks up with the Connect at the festival, and we'll find out who that Connect is later. And the Connect names her Tasty. We also see that Aleda is trying to be Daya's mom now that she's pregnant. I think Daya couldn't.
I told y'all that last season.
Oh, whatever. She was trying to be her mom because she couldn't boo-boo, so she was extra constipated, so she was giving all these remedies and stuff. But
5 days is a long time not to go. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was a long time. She needed an enema. I couldn't understand why the prison just wouldn't, administer an enema and be done with it. But anyway, Team Tasty.
What? What'd you call it? Cause
Enema. Huh?
okay, like Eminem on my end.
Oh, enema. A deuce for the booty.
Oh Lord.
I'm just saying, that's what
Oh
it
my
is.
God. Thank you,
We
Sojo.
deal
Just thank you.
But then we get to Teen Tasty, who is still, she still intrigues that connect that she met when she was a kid, even though she has a smart mouth. But then they start showing like them going through like the interview process and wardrobe selection and all of that in the jail, and they had an actual little competition, which Tasty ended up winning. So what y'all feel overall about the episode? I know, Buddha, you said this is your
It's my favorite one so far of this season. And she got down on that fake job interview. I was really proud of her. She really nailed it. Um,
She
and
did.
but I just like, everyone who listens to us talk about shows knows that I really like the character development aspect of any show, and I've really appreciated seeing her backstory and getting to know her and getting to understand kind of all of her background. So I liked it, and she's one of my favorite characters anyway. So we can start from the fact that I liked her a lot the first season. I think she was my favorite character if I think about it. So I really was glad to see more about her.
I'm sorry, I just read Michelle's comment, which I'm gonna read in a second.
I didn't say nothing funny. Talking about that enemas at most cost 5 cents. That prison is on a budget.
Right.
Oh, she probably didn't tell them. But yeah, I probably went walking around 5 days not going. That's just not gonna happen.
That hurts. That sounds painful. Smart, what do you think overall about that episode?
So yeah, I think that they touched upon, if I recall, because y'all know I play skimming, or I played a skim game, and I watched it all like within 3 days. But if I recall, they did touch upon the fact that getting a job as a former incarcerated person is not as easy as go pound the pavement.
Yeah, they did. They did a good job with that.
You do all this stuff and teach them how to dress and everything, but at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, they still have to check that box whether or not they have been, convicted of anything. Now, in a lot of states, they are trying to backpedal on checking the box because it disproportionately affects minorities. That's an unintended consequence of it, and often it doesn't have anything to do with the job that they're doing. Whether or not I don't know, drunk drove and, I don't know, hit a house but didn't kill anybody, I don't know that really has an impact on whether or not you can sell office supplies.
Right.
I don't know that it does. Especially if you're in a store, you're not driving any company-owned vehicle. So I don't understand how it correlates. But I did appreciate, like I said, that they address something that I hear all too often. Oh, why don't they just get out of jail and get an education and get a job? Well, here's the thing. There's federal funds you can't get if you have a conviction. There are schools that actually on their application have you ever been convicted? Please explain. And really, they don't care about your explanation. They want to keep your ass out. And 3, there are places you can live.
You can't live, I was just about to say.
So I was just glad that they did that, but because people are lazy, most people who are watching aren't going to carry their lazy ass to Google and find out, is that really true that they can't, it's very difficult to get jobs because of X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I enjoyed about this episode was the parallel that they showed with Tasty, with her eagerness to show this corporate boss that she had researched the company and she had a certain skill set that could be beneficial to him and his product. So,
Sojo?
Yeah, you broke up.
Sorry, am I still here?
Yeah,
you're
back.
Okay. I was going to say that she did the same thing when she went to V to sell herself to V. She did it with the same amount of research, and it was like, showing that Tasty, just not as a felon or whatever she is, but Tasty as a human being takes pride in herself and takes pride in her work, and that whoever she's going to go work for, she's going to be an asset to And I like the fact that they showed that about Tasty, because before we were just thinking she was real silly, talking about waking up with barbecue on her titties and a dead man. I mean,
No, she always came across as smart, like the whole library thing and some of the conversations they had in the library. But here's the other thing, like following up on what you said about the fact that she always does her research. Well, that's how we were introduced to V, the Connect, because she was selling herself to a future family or potential family, or
that's
what did she
right.
call it, a forever family, but it didn't work for her then. So it's kind of a testament to her being true to herself that she
Yeah.
continued to be that same type of person even after she spent years rejecting V, and when she was ready to say, I got my back against the wall, there's nothing else I can do, I'm determined now to go into this situation because that's going to be better for me, and I'm going to be myself again and show you again who I really am. Yeah.
Um, and then let's see. I'm trying to think if anything else happened. No, we just realized that the warden was just real evil. Like, after Tasty won, she thought that she was going to win like job placement when she got out, and the warden kind of shut her down and was like, you people, gimme, 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 I'm not your goddamn mommy, which, hurt Tasty's feelings, but, we got to see that. So we already knew the warden was, who she was. But anyway, that just highlighted that. And then we found out that the Connect was the Miss V that, everybody had been waiting, to see pop up. Episode 3, Hugs Can Be Deceiving. Piper is challenged by her so-so experience. Morella gets her heart broken, and a figure from Tasty's past, who is V, arrives to disturb the status quo. So my first note I put was Piper's back. Ugh. Because we had no Piper in episode 2, which
None.
is awesome.
Nary.
That's why that was your favorite episode.
That's probably true. Oh no.
This was the one where we get Suzanne, who is affectionately known as Crazy Eyes. We get her backstory, and that's when we see her. She had been adopted by the white family, and she was in the hospital.
We knew that, but we knew that from season 1 that she was adopted by the white family. We didn't know it was sort of an outsider within her own home.
Right. We didn't know that she had been adopted when they didn't know that mom couldn't have kids, and then all of a sudden the mom got pregnant, and she's in the hospital, and she was so cute. That baby that played Crazy Eyes with the little butterfly wings was just adorable. But you could tell that they were cautious from the beginning, and I mean, maybe they had started noticing something in her behavior then, but they didn't want, they told her to be careful about her little sister, and then she started having a tantrum, and the nurse was able to, kind of soothe her and plait her hair, or, whatever. So we got to see that.
Wait, let me just pause there. So one thing that I'm always looking for the underlying propaganda. And so I felt like the scene where the black nurse came in and knew how to do her hair, or did her hair, was a comment on cross-racial adoption. And there were some other scenes too where I felt it was these white women don't know what they're doing with these little black babies.
They kept saying, yeah.
So yeah, did you guys see that as well? Because I was
The nurse said, she was like, I think she said something to the effect that you got to do better with with her hair or something like that.
Well, she said she was going to give her a special hairdo to match that special outfit, but she did walk in to like calm her down when the child was basically having a meltdown for the infant, like the newborn. Mine, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and her parents were fearful of her.
Right.
And it reminded me of Lutz the cat on Animal Planet, when the family was so fearful of her, but it was like the nurse was able to just calm down and just look at her and talk to her like she was a human being.
I think that's a good comment though, Miss Smart, about the that it's probably a subtle commentary on the cross-racial adoption. Yep.
So what we find out is that, well, first of all, So-So is a new Asian inmate, and we, see Miss V snub, or first of all, Morello, we realize is really racist because she snubs Miss V and then says something nice to So-So because she's not full Asian.
Right.
Morello did that before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, she has like but they talked about it's tribal, not racial.
Right. Right.
And we see, yeah, she's racist. But then we find out that when Tasty got out, V was on the run, and Tasty feels betrayed because she went to V's house and V wasn't there for her. And it's funny because my notes, what I said was V is a predator. She has predator instincts.
Oh,
I
definitely.
put in quotation marks sees people. I know people like that. And ironically, in that episode, she said to Crazy Eyes, "I see you," and that's
Right.
Crazy Eyes ever wanted was for somebody to see into her, and that's what predators do. They see people, and so
Well, and she planted that tobacco, but like made sure that she Suzanne could overhear her saying that there was something in that outlet for her to go get later. But yeah, I mean, like even when she went up to Tasty, she was openly like basically hunting her and basically said, "You want to, come hang with me? You got something tasty to offer. They like something sweet or whatever it was," she said.
mhm.
And it was a testament to Tasty that, like I said, she turned her down for as many years as she did
But
before
you know
she.
what?
Mhm.
I think that V,
Mhm.
I compare V and Red. So V manages people by fear, but she wraps it in nurturing.
Yes,
Whereas Red wraps her aggressiveness in fear. I mean, I'm sorry, wraps her. Her exterior is more nurturing, and her interior is more, I guess, where the seed of fear lies with
yeah,
Red. But this other broad, like, and also there was something, and I've seen this actress in many roles
Mhm.
before, but there was
Mhm.
something very masculine about her, like the way she moved her shoulders in this, the way she walked was very, was something that I haven't seen in this actress in any other role. She was very aggressive to me, masculine, without even saying anything.
she was
Mhm.
like a mother and father, which she said she was in a later episode. She said
Mhm.
she was that to the kids that she had taken in, and it's funny that you say that because now that
Mhm.
makes sense when you
Mhm.
say like her mannerisms or whatever were masculine, but her actions were feminine. So it was like she was a protector and a nurturer to
Mhm.
to those kids. Then we also see who are affectionately known as the Snatch Sisters, Nikki and Piper, since they both shared Alex. And Nikki made this comment which made me laugh. She said, "Great to see you evolving, Chapman, and getting past the whole 'I'm the star of my own movie and everyone else is too' complex." And then Piper said, Do I do that?" So I was like, does Gingy really see Piper for who she really is and works it into the script for us because we need those moments, to be like,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, and so I liked Piper this episode, if I'm thinking about it correctly. And it may be a different one, but it might be this one. Was she like angry and irritated and tight the whole time? Um, I liked her. Like I liked that. Not that I am fond of her, but I was like, oh, okay, now that's a Piper. That's a character I can deal with. Like
Less
she's
annoying.
yeah, she's way less annoying and she's kind of more pointed and more direct and tight and take charge and not this helpless, whiny, all about me, privileged, rich white girl shit that she did all of season one.
I felt like that interaction, that conversation they had, was less about Piper and more about highlighting how perceptive Nikki is.
Oh God, yes.
There
Nikki,
I'm
are
sure,
several
yeah.
points
Yeah.
but
yes.
in this whole season where Nikki is spot on. But I think the problem with Nikki is that she lacks um, overall she has a certain level of confidence to read other people, but because of her drug addiction, I feel like she can't read her own self.
That's a
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, what am I? I know I can tell you what you are, but I'm not comfortable and strong enough to be sure of what I am.
Well, and maybe it's that she's not that she's. I think the first part is right that maybe she's not comfortable. I mean, maybe she used that as a smokescreen. Like they talk about, if we start delving into metaphysical principles, that sometimes people use smoking and other types of addictions or whatever to really block out being able to see themselves for who they truly are. And so maybe it's just that she just refuses to do it, refuses to address whoever she is at the core. And I don't know who that is, but that's an interest. I like that. Mm-hmm.
I also put
We can't hear you,
Uh-oh.
Sojo.
You froze, baby.
Yeah, she froze. I don't know. Well, so that Sojo's gone.
We can look at these comments over here on the side. I see a few.
Yeah.
Go
You
ahead.
want to read them?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm looking.
Um,
Oh, well, actually, let's start with Leonard Brothers, who said, I am highly upset that you are spoiling a show I have no intentions of watching. How dare you talk about this show I haven't watched yet and won't ever. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter about this, Shakespeare. So just kind of a nod to us talking about all the spoilers and all the overreaction people did. Um,
definitely.
Let's see. He also says, Buddha made the same face and had the same reaction to her dad saying a douche for the booty. It's pretty clear where the ratchet part of the podcast comes from.
Thank you.
Looks in Sojo's direction with large amounts of judgment in his eyes. I know that's right. Romero said the nurse was able to reach her as a black person, a place her white parents can't. Yep. Michelle said, I thought that was the comment on the adoption too, agreeing with Miss Smart. Howard signed off. So see you later, Howard. And then Romero is talking, and he says, in addition to teaching/training vocational trades, prison systems should integrate entrepreneurial preparation. My brother has had to, quote, create work for himself by becoming a CrossFit trainer after 10 years of incarceration. This may not work for every former inmate, but it could help open up some more options. Microfinance, micro-entrepreneurship organizations would be open to assist former inmates in acquiring startup funds for very small businesses.
Hand raised. So, Ramel, again, here you come with reasonable suggestions. Okay? If we give them skills to function outside of the prison, how are we going to get them back in the prison so that we can make money, people? I mean, come on. That's not what we want. That's why we took education out of there, because statistics show that if somebody comes in without a high school diploma and they get one, their rate of recidivism goes down. If they come in and end up leaving with an undergraduate degree, god damn it, we ain't gonna never get their ass back in jail. So we don't need all this reasonable re-entry program type of crazy talk you giving us.
I don't know what y'all talking about. I heard
talking about Romero because he's giving all these great suggestions on how to support or how people can make a living post incarceration by refusing to be, looking for a traditional job and just create your own, basically. And then the organizations that can support ex-convicts in that endeavor. Yep.
Well, the only other thing we have from this episode is that we found out that Suzanne was the one. Well, she actually knocked Piper out, so she stopped her from killing Pennsatucky.
Yes.
Right, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was a good reveal. And then the only other thing I put was Smart said something about people in season 1. You said something about people, the older women, Claudette and Red, knowing how to do time. And now we see that V is one of those people too.
She does, even though she started getting on everybody's nerves, telling everybody that she knows how to do time.
Right.
And back in my day.
Right,
yeah.
Back in the old days. I don't have any notes for episode 4. I don't know where they went, but that episode was a whole nother hole. And that was where Sophia gives the women a much needed lesson in the female anatomy because they didn't know where urine came from.
I can imagine that they just thought that it just came from the same place that something went in. Like, wow.
You know what? When you're younger, like, I didn't learn that till I was a teenager. I thought a hole was a hole.
I spent a whole bunch of time in the mirror.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't get in the mirror.
Leg up on the counter. My mom had a.
I did not do that until I was a teenager. So,
but they're not teenagers. I mean, that's the other thing.
They did that on this show, but somebody put on Twitter that they were glad to see them having, even though it was funny that it came from a transgender woman, that it inspired them to actually look at themselves and see the flappy flap, whatever Tasty said, the flappy flaps and stuff. So that was funny. That was a funny part.
I would think Black Cindy would know because she's had. Wait, have we gotten to that? No, we haven't gotten to that.
No, we have not gotten to that. But even still, Poussey knew.
Been down there, right? Because she was face to face with her.
May not have been down there when urine was. Just.
But you could still, even just the way that it feels. Like you might not know exactly how it's all built, but you can know that that's not coming from. At any rate, and she, Poussey knew.
Try to put a penis in the wrong space, and you know when you're in the space.
I mean, listen, it's a couple choices and it's a couple things at any rate. So yeah, if you
Anyway,
haven't,
yeah.
so even if you don't watch this episode, if you are of a certain age and you don't know what you look like, and I'm talking about you, like you yourself, what you look like, so just however you can get comfortable, get a
It's
mirror. My mom used to have one of those vanity mirrors that have lights around the edges. So,
you don't need
but now phones have lights around the edges.
a mirror.
Yeah, get a mirror and get a light and just, lean back and just
You know what?
make it look.
You know what? That is the testimony to women being told to be ashamed of their bodies. Like,
Mhm.
you're not supposed to look that. Because think about it, we call it down there. So I mean, it's like that's just, and I don't know if that's a community thing or whatever, but it used to be forbidden to even tell women to look at themselves. So even just to see them bringing that out on the episode, that was great. I thought that was really great, and I'm glad that Tasty got a chance to examine herself.
Right. And Romero talking about TMI, but listen, like I just was curious. I spent a whole lot of time doing a whole lot of stuff just on my own. That was one of
That's
them.
the quote. Look, is Leonard Brother still on this? Because that is the quote.
That's a worthy quote. Yeah.
Okay, but the other part of this, and it's 9:02, but Morello takes a detour, and that is when we find out that Christopher, Morello's fiance, because last episode she found out that Christopher was getting married on what was their wedding day.
Yeah, she stole her date.
We found out that Morello was not engaged to Christopher, that she had only gone out on one date with him and fabricated this entire relationship, which shout out to Chris on Insanity.
That's so crazy.
And Jax, because this could have been you, because she got angry, and when they took, I can't remember the Hispanic character that has cancer, I can't remember her name, but anyway, took her for her chemo. She, she was a driver, and she was left unsupervised, so she went to Christopher's house, broke into the house, got his bride-to-be's wedding dress, tried it on, tried the veil on, got in the bathtub with the veil on, and took a bath.
Just that shit. I mean, that was beyond. I was disappointed to know that she was really that far out there.
I loved it.
That was really a great twist. But I also think, and again, looking for the commentary here, that is something that happens. And so a lot of times, people say, oh, this woman went crazy. Well, what did he do to make her that way? And occasionally, men stumble upon women, just like women stumble upon men who obsess and, I don't know, show up at their job, their house, and do all these things. I actually had someone try and get me, bless his heart, I don't think he's crazy, like he's a friend. Well, yeah, a friend. Try and get me to be his girlfriend on Facebook because his sister didn't believe that he could date black women. Now, I'm just like, that's some crazy, and I don't know whether that was the real deal behind it, but imagine if it wasn't, and I had said, yeah, then he had been planning.
Remember, Jax met that girl on the airplane that wanted to pretend like they were engaged and get engaged on the flight.
That was definitely a Morello in training.
Right, that was the thing.
Going out with her on a real, well, he did.
You tried to reel it because you could have been episode 4 of Orange.
Yes.
So this other thing says Larry makes some life changes, but because I didn't take any notes, I have no idea what those life changes were.
Well, first of all, he is starting to fall for Polly.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You could see the spark. I guess this was the episode with the spark between.
I actually like them together.
I do too. Because I liked her character, and I don't like him, but she makes him likable.
She makes him likable. Yeah, actually. Like I was like, well, I'm okay with that.
Y'all dragging me and Lacey once again on that together. I am over here. I am, I don't know, Benson or Stabler, because I was just like, oh, that is, because she knew him before he knew
Piper. Mm-hmm.
So y'all had all this time to get it together, but now in this stressful period, this is when y'all draw yourselves together. No, and it's not gonna work out. Let me tell you why it's not gonna work out. Because when people get together because they have an immediate need from something from the other person, I don't know, like somebody need a place to stay. Somebody, is going through emotional turmoil because they mama didn't die, so they turn to the person right beside them and end up with them. When they no longer need that, when it's no longer that stress or that need for a place to stay or whatever in their life, shit gets real.
And I agree that they're bonding over loss because
Yeah.
her husband has, basically abandoned her, and Piper has abandoned him and betrayed him, and blah 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 blah.
Well,
But
she's stressed out.
even personality wise, like I never liked Piper and Larry, but I always, even when they were just friends, I liked the way that they interacted with each other. So yeah, in a real life sense, I would be like, oh girl, that's trifling. That's your best friend's man.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't actually.
I would have.
Definitely trifling, but for
but watching the two of them interact, I'm like, I would have liked to have seen them together as opposed to I would have liked to have for her to have been Piper, as opposed to Piper. So yeah, did y'all have notes on episode 4? Because that
was it.
Okay.
Just that there's something to your last point. There is something about Piper. Like there was a scene where somebody said to someone else, and I don't remember, I don't like your face. And I feel like that is part of why I can't stand Piper. Like there's something in her expression, these micro expressions that she has, that make her look deceitful, even when she's supposed to be having these heart-to-heart moments with people.
That goes back to Buddha saying that the acting was bad. Because even when she emotes, you don't believe she's really emoting.
But there's something like a like I said, micro expression where she's supposed to be sad, but there's like a little upturn of the lip that says
that's called bad acting. That's
She's always smirking. She's always smirking. But the thing is, again, I think that's like I looked up the real Piper, and I looked at her Facebook page and stuff, and even back in the day when she and Larry, before she went to jail and she was, whatever, she looks like that. I mean, she doesn't look like the actress, but her facial expressions, the things that you're saying you don't like, she has those in real life. So, so she's being true to Piper, I think.
Well, I liked her authentically when she was angry and just tight, mean Piper. Anything else, get off the screen. That's all I got on episode 4.
All right. Well, it is 9:08, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'm not sure because I lost my connection. Did y'all get to all the comments?
Yep.
No, we didn't get to this last one. That what's his name is doing through his life. Romero about society. Yeah, society.
Which one? Oh, I see it. Okay. Society is still geared to make women feel ashamed of their bodies. My wife plans to do the same level of instruction for our daughter. Kudos, because I think it starts with moms teaching daughters that, so that they aren't ashamed. And even like if something goes wrong, you should be able to know the difference of what's right and what's wrong.
Exactly.
With your body. So definitely start at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and y'all got to the rest of these at the bottom because I'm going to go ahead and clear them out. Okay. Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. We can go ahead and get to our cheers. Buddha, do you want to start with your cheers and contact info?
Yeah, so it was Father's Day. Even though my father passed away in 2006, I am, always will be, always have been a daddy's girl. So cheers to my dad, and cheers to Blue, who said just this week that being a dad is his favorite job. He's co-parent, and so he loves his babies, and he's one of those active fathers. So cheers to them. And if you want to hit me up on Twitter, I've been completely off the grid the past forever, but I'm trying to work my way back on. So hit me up at ND Collier on Twitter. That's COLLIER. And the same thing with my blogging. I miss it now, so I'm ready to get back to it. So you can hit me up over there. www.cocostudio.com. COCO Studio, singular. cocostudio.com. Be smart.
So let's see. What was I supposed to? Okay, so shout out to my dad. Happy Father's Day and all that. He doesn't know anything about the podcast because I just don't have it in my spirit to explain to him how this all works. It's a lot. And I am at the Twitter at think_P_smart. I would like to give a cheers to all of the women who shouted out their fathers without all the qualifiers, their father, the person they're co-parent with, without all the damn qualifiers. So big ups to them. And oh, we now own Sophista Ratchet, so we'll be doing something with that quite soon because hey, we don't dawdle here. We jump on things like that. So yeah, Sojo, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at SOJOXOXO. That's Sojo XOXO. And my website is www.feminine.com. That's FEMIN YIN.com, which is also on Facebook if y'all want to like that page. My cheers is, of course, specially reserved for my dad, Papa Sojo. I talk about my mom a lot on here, but I don't talk a lot about my dad. But he is truly amazing. I realize as I get older that I have a lot of his qualities, not just facially, like I got his eyes, his smile, his little mole that's right here. But I also get my crazy side from him.
Oh.
Nah, but my sarcasm and all of that's all him. So definitely cheers to him, and he'll be here on Thursday. I'm cooking for him Thursday, so I think I'm gonna show him the podcast and see what he thinks.
Well, and we glad you think you're amazing because you just said he was amazing because you had his traits. That's awesome. For your high self-esteem, I love it.
Shut up. But yeah, I do want to give my dad cheers, and I he doesn't know about the podcast. My mom knows, but he doesn't. So this is gonna be interesting to see, what he thinks. So
wait a minute. I got one more. I want to shout out my friends who are coming to visit me this weekend. Shout out to those that are fathers, and shout out to the husbands of the ladies that are coming who are great fathers as well.
All right.
Ooh. Oh, and shout out Eric. That's my BFF who's also a daddy. So shout out Eric.
Well, let me see who else I got to shout out. Hold on.
Big Papa, Iceberg Slim.
Shout out to future fathers who don't know their fathers yet. Shout out.
Hey, log off.
Wait. We gotta tell people where to find us. We are at www.whiskeywineandmoonshine.com. Our Twitter handle is @whiskeywinemoon. Our Facebook page is Whiskey Wine and Moonshine. We're on YouTube, Podomatic, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, whatever. Just Google Whiskey Wine and Moonshine and you'll definitely see us pop up. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the chat. I'm almost out of wine, but cheers.
Cheers.